Thank you so much, Xavier, for hosting this event. We're really happy to take part in the organization. You guys are doing an amazing job, and we're really lucky that every time Xavier comes to us and asks for support. So we help supporting, promoting the events that are organized by Mobility Masterclass. So really happy to be here. So now let's dive into the Swiss Association for Autonomous Mobility, but more specifically, what is happening in Switzerland. I know some of you here are wondering what is actually happening in Switzerland. There might have been some noise around different projects, around the regulation. So now's the time for you to understand, hopefully in 15 minutes, more or less exactly what's happening in Switzerland. I'm going to try and structure the 15 minutes presentation in 3 sections. Introducing SAAM, then we're going to be talking about the regulations, and then the projects in Switzerland. Just for the context, in Switzerland, I don't know if you know, but there were many automated shuttles that have been deployed in Switzerland since 2017 actually. Mostly at the time was Navia, EasyMar shuttles. There were some basically all over Switzerland, different cities, different regions. And basically we saw, given all the different competences that have been built up, we thought to put together these competences under one roof. And this is why we created SAAM. And today, SAAM is about, we have lots of different types of partners on board. But what SAAM is really about, it's about sharing, but more specifically, implementing projects. We're really about hands-on projects. We also help with regulations. We help in developing a Swiss roadmap for the deployment of autonomous vehicles. And exactly, for us, as long as we can, deploy AVs on public roads, that means that we are doing a good job, basically. And the reason why, you will see later, but the reason why I think there's so much dynamism going on in Switzerland is for different reasons. I listed them here. 4 main reasons, in my opinion, is that first of all, we now have a really open legal framework to deploy autonomous vehicles, which we will see right afterwards. Secondly, we have some really good universities in Switzerland, part of the top 10 worldwide. And also lots of companies in Switzerland that want to build up their know-how, and as a result, they have lots of research centers in Switzerland. Third point is that given all the experience we have with these different automated shuttles that were deployed in Switzerland, we now have a good experience. And fourthly, given all the tensions that we see today in the world, the fact that Switzerland is quite neutral adds to this ease of mind for foreign actors to come to Switzerland, test out projects without fearing political issues. So yeah, that's, I think, also an advantage that Switzerland has, the political stability. So now let's jump to the regulations in Switzerland. So basically on the 1st of March, 2025, so that's more or less 3 months ago, there was the new ordinance, so basically the new application of the law that came out into force. So as from the 1st of March 2025, it is now authorized in Switzerland to have these three cases. So first of all, you can now operate level 3 automated vehicles on highways. Secondly, we can have automated parking areas in Switzerland. And thirdly, driverless vehicles are now also authorized officially. So I'm, of course, going to deepen each of the use cases, but this gives you already the overview. So let's start with the first use case. A vehicle with takeover request on motorways. So I'm not a legal expert or anything. I went through the ordinance multiple times, so I start knowing what I'm talking about, but I hope my vocabulary is the right one in terms of regulations. But basically, the drivers must be present in the automated vehicles. Basically, what we are talking here about is level 3 automated vehicles on highways, meaning that today, if you have an L2 vehicle, every 15 seconds approximately, if you do not have your hands on the wheel, the vehicle notifies you that you have to put your hand back on the steering wheel. Simply because in L2, you need to have your hands on the wheel. In L3, this is not an obligation anymore. In L3, you can basically do anything else that doesn't comprise your takeover tasks, meaning that when the vehicle does ask you to take over the vehicle again, you need to be able to do it with no delay. So now this raises big questions. How on earth, for example, you're looking out the window, you're looking at the mountains in Switzerland, and all of a sudden, the vehicle, for any reasons whatsoever, maybe snow or a leaf or an actual potential incident, asks you to take over the vehicle now. You're supposed to do it with no delay. So I think this is one of the big questions that still need to be solved under this regulation. But at least we have this framework now, which approves the L3 automated vehicles on Swiss highways. Just for information, in Germany, which was up to now the leading country with this law, only authorizes AVs or L3 vehicles and up to 90 kilometers an hour. Okay, so in Switzerland, there's no limit, of course, up to 120 kilometers an hour, which is the official limit. So yeah, that's for the first use case. Then we're going to move on to the second use case, automated parking areas. So I don't know if you've seen maybe in Hamburg, at the airport of Hamburg, it wasn't private spaces. You can come with your vehicle, so the vehicle must be drive-by-wire. So basically, all the most recently produced vehicles are drive-by-wire. So this simply means electronically driven rather than mechanically driven. For example, if you press on the brake, it's not a mechanic reaction; it's an electronic reaction. So all the vehicles produced today are drive-by-wire. And if you take your drive-by-wire vehicle to an automated parking area, just like it was the case in Hamburg, for example, you can just leave it there at the entrance and your vehicle will go and park by itself, guided by the central infrastructure. And then you can simply come back and then your vehicle will be waiting for you at the exit of the car park. So this concept is now authorized publicly in Switzerland as well. For each, it's the cantons that will have to authorize such deployments. But again, this is authorized in Switzerland. And the third use case is about driverless vehicles. And for me, this is, even if I think the two other use cases were groundbreaking, for me, this is, even a step further. So now in Switzerland, driverless vehicles are authorized. Of course, you need to comply to certain conditions. One of them, and I think the biggest, is that these driverless vehicles need to be supervised by a remote supervisor. And this remote supervisor needs to be in Switzerland. Okay, so that's one of the big conditions. The remote supervisor also have tasks they need to comply to. And just to be clear, we're really talking here about supervising. Driving remotely is not authorized in Switzerland. That's something very important I want to insist on. Remote driving is not authorized in Switzerland because of safety issues. We consider that in case of failures of the system or latency or communication error, it is not safe for the vehicle to be driven remotely, as simple as that. However, in case of exceptional issues, you can have, for example, a field agent that can come over. If there is no cockpit in the vehicle for a driver inside, then of course the field agent can remotely drive it, but the person needs to be at a safe distance. At a close distance from the vehicle. He needs to see the vehicle with his own eye. Then, secondly, the cantons have to approve the driverless vehicles in the canton. And this raises other questions. How do the cantons, so the regions in Switzerland, how do the cantons gain enough competence to be able to evaluate self-driving vehicles? So this is an open question SAAM is working very actively on. And thirdly, another condition is for the vehicles to be type approved on the EU level. So this was raised in one of the questions. Type approval is the European homologation. It exists. It's not, let's say, active for the time being because there was no actual applicants for the type approval. But this is also a condition to operate in Switzerland. However, in the ordinance, there is an article, the Article 50, that gives an exception, meaning that if you're a manufacturer or an operator and your vehicle is not type approved on an EU level, Switzerland accepts that you can deploy on a commercial level your vehicle in Switzerland as long as you can prove the safety levels are equivalent to the EU type approval. So this also raises questions. How do we do that? How do we prove that the level of safety is equivalent to the EU type approval? So this is also an open question that is going to be deepened. And just maybe to finish on the regulation section, this is now the framework that is established in Switzerland. As you can understand, there are still open questions, so we are working on directives. And the directives are basically the application of the law. The directives will help out the canton to evaluate driverless vehicles. They will help out to understand the open questions that were raised today in this presentation. And so the directives will come into force by the end of this year, 2025. So next year, we can hopefully answer the open question that were raised today. 5 minutes for the project. We have lots of projects going on in Switzerland. You might be aware of most of them already, maybe not. So I'm going to go through the most important projects going on in Switzerland. One by one. And of course, I'm only talking here about the upcoming projects or the ongoing projects. I'm not talking about the past projects because there were lots of past projects with automated shuttles. So here's only about the ongoing or future projects. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the project going on in the Furtal region. It's near Zurich. We have there'll be 12 automated vehicles, including person vehicles and shuttles that will be deployed in Furtal. The idea of this project is basically to serve last kilometer from local train stations to the doorstep of people. So that's really the idea of this project, to make mobility better, to avoid the usage of private cars through improved public transportation. Then in Geneva, we will be deploying 15 automated shuttles. There will be on-demand, there will be dynamic routing, no timetable. Basically, you can book your vehicles using your app, using your phone. Actually, this already exists. This is called the TPG Flex. So the Public Transport of Geneva will be operating the service. TPG Flex is simply an on-demand service provided by the TPG, and the automated shuttles will be operating under this TPG Flex app. So it's, I think, really interesting to see how today we can already integrate automated vehicles in existing public transport, and this will be showcased in Geneva. In Zug, there will be we are actually undertaking a feasibility study to deploy 40 automated robotaxis, shared or not, still to be defined. So this study is still ongoing, but of course, if the results are positive, then there will be a good probability or good possibility that 40 robotaxi will be deployed in Zug. Then also in Arbon, it's in another part of Switzerland. There'll be a 12-meter automated bus also deployed. At first, there'll be a safety driver on board. Let's see if we can remove the safety driver or not, but that's the idea. It's going to be the first 12-meter automated bus operating in Switzerland. So let's see how this goes. And the idea is for this bus to serve the old town with cultural places as well. Then another really interesting project, which is actually going on now. So if you go to Bern, you can actually see this vehicle with your own eye. It's basically a middle mile delivery automated vehicle. So Logistics. Just to explain you the project in very briefly, because I think it's really interesting. You have cargo trains that bring goods to a cargo station in Bern, and then this automated vehicle there takes the good from the cargo train and brings them to dynamic micro hubs spread out in the city of Bern, and there they meet up with electric small scooters. Driven by a person, which then dispatches the goods directly to the doorstep of the people. So we're really here talking about middle mile delivery. The idea here is to actually improve or optimize the urban delivery framework. We have lots of big hubs in urban space. They also add up to the traffic that we can see. So here we really want to optimize traffic and simply optimize the logistics delivery. And I think this is a really interesting project. So this is an ID bus, Volkswagen ID bus that has been retrofitted into an L4 automated vehicle operated by Loxo and in partnership with Planzer, which is a logistics company. And Loxo is a Swiss startup that develops automated vehicles. Another project is Zurich Airport, also with WeRide. So they will start with one automated shuttle. The idea here is for the staff of the airport to use the shuttle to go to the different buildings. I think it's an interesting project. It's also in a closed area, so it I think makes some process a bit simpler, even though there are other regulations in the airports, basically the aviation regulations, which are also pretty strict. So yeah, I think this project is also an interesting use case because it addresses other types of questions which the other projects don't address. But clearly, they're going to start with one automated vehicle, make some tests, and they'll see if it's worth adding some more to this project. I also wanted to mention this it's actually the first driverless vehicle in Europe, meaning that there was no cockpit inside the vehicle. Loxo, the company I just mentioned, Swiss startup developing automated vehicles. This is the first vehicle they developed, and this project was about delivering goods from a local shopping center to Schindler's headquarters, Schindler, the lift manufacturer. And the idea behind this is that the employees of Schindler could simply use the goods. I mean, they could use the service of Loxo to dispatch the goods and to use the goods for themselves. So this was really a B2B market, really interesting because it was public roads, and there was this link between shopping center, a business headquarter, and this automated vehicle directly linking both. And no cockpit inside, no driver inside. So there was only remote supervision that could be done, no other option. So yeah, I think that was also a fascinating project. So this one is now ended, I have to say. It ended last year. But yeah, I think it's really worth mentioning. Autonomous bus depot. So I don't know if you guys heard about the huge driver shortage. I mean, everyone here in this room knows about the driver shortage issue. In public transport in Switzerland, for example, we even had to remove some bus lines simply because of the fact there was a shortage of drivers. So what is an immediate reaction to that? We're simply maybe working on where the drivers spend the most unproductive time, basically in bus depot. In bus depot, a study we made actually showed that on a standard 100 bus depot, drivers usually spend per year 1,500 hours just in the depot, just walking from the bus to the exit, just waiting in the bus in the traffic, or waiting in the bus during the maintenance tasks. So this project here is about making sure that bus drivers can simply just drop off the bus at the entrance of the depot. The bus can automatically navigate by itself in the depot, and then the driver the next day can simply take his bus at the exit. This is a big project. We're working with 20 partners across Europe, maybe even China. I'd like to talk to you with your drive-by-wire redundant buses. I think that would be really, really interesting. The idea here is to make this depot, because there were some other ideas or concepts with autonomous bus depot. I know the RATP here in Paris, they also made this such a similar project. So where we try and stand out is the economic viability. What we want are buses that are not automated buses. We do not want L4 buses or L5. What we want is simply drive-by-wire buses. As soon as we have drive-by-wire buses, we can simply take them. They will be navigated by the central infrastructure within the depot. There will be remote supervision, and this will enable large-scale deployment of automated bus depot. Also, the speed in which the bus will navigate in the depot will be topped at 3 kilometers an hour. And of course, it's normal because there'll be no one waiting for the buses. So why not? Why make them faster than 3 kilometers an hour? And 3 kilometers an hour enables for the safety to be really showcased and proved. So yeah, that's even that project we can talk about it for hours.
Thank you, Oliver.